Alright, so this is Middle Eat. Yay. There's a lot of things in here, and I'm pretty confident with some of them. Others, but I do know a thing or two at least about all of these creatures, except for maybe like one or two. Acrocanthops, high speed. You want to get that speed on there. You want to get Revenge Rampage to deal a lot of damage. So like something around like almost 3,000. Thus you can have a back-to-back 6,000 Rampage. This thing can easily lay on the hurt, and that's what it's designed to do. Come in, pick off something at like high with a decent chunk of HP, and then deal another decent chunk of damage to whatever comes in next. 4x Phlox hurt it, but still good. Alicino and Thor, kind of pretty much similar. They're just chompers, not as like dangerous as Mortem or Trico. Instant Charge is pretty good, but they just lack this. Like Alicino is more bulky, but Thor is more offensive. But compared to something like Trichosaurus or Trichosaurus, Tenontorex, they just lack the different options that they have. Androtops, this thing is garbage. It's not bad. All right, no, it's not bad. If it was slower, actually, this is one of the few cases where like being slower is better. I feel because you wanna get that counter off and then deal as much damage as possible. Also, this thing relies on revenge way too much, to the point where if you don't use it with revenge, then it's useless. It's pretty bad. And also the swap-in's garbage. It just lacks a lot. Ankylodocus, great offense, great defense. It's got good resilient coverage. It's good against Phlox. It's good against like your Megalotops. Anything cunning, it's great against. Pretty solid creature. Ankylomoloch, this one can easily roll over into high, but for now we're just keeping it here. It could easily move up. We need to wait and see, because this thing is going to be able to destroy Phlox. Also it's got moves with like 50 different effects. Also got Stunning Alert, which is pretty good. And it's got a better version of Rampage and Run, so why not? Alright, and here comes one of the most controversial creatures in this list, Anarctopelta. I could see Anarctopelta dropping, if I'm honest. It's probably like the best in the low elite tier, but or it's the worst in the middle elite tier. It's one of those two. If there was a tier in between low and middle elite, like little elite, I don't know. That's where Anarctopelta falls. It's got great defense, great offense. It's got it all. It's great in the meta. There may be a bit of tournament bias, I will say, but other than that, it's pretty solid. It still can easily fall down, but for now it's sitting in middle eight. Shaky, but still sitting there. Tarkus, one of my favorites. It lacks resistances, but it makes up for it with great options. You got instant distract with the greater ending counter. You got group decelerating rampage, long protection, superiority strike. It's just got many things to choose from. Great against Phlox, great against tanks, great against other, even fierce. It's able to play against anything it comes up against. There are some things that just easily shut it down, but again, it's solid middle eight. Usually one of the higher ones in this tier. Not the best, but still pretty good. Compies, one of the most annoying creatures in the game. They constantly rally heal. They don't die. They really have great immunities. Alert the Flock is really good. Alert Swarm is pretty good. They have Alert Scurry. They just stick around for a long time. They're not as good as they used to be, but I would say I think that they're either the best or second best non-hybrid in the game. They're really just a big pain in the rear. Dialerac, the buff did help it, but it didn't help it enough. It still needs a bit of love if it wants to compete. And I mean, because it suffers the same thing that most healers suffer, in that it tries to keep healing, tries to stay alive, but it just can't do it. The only one that really can accomplish that is Paracanthops, but Dalarak, it's too easy to play around, and it just dies to armor. Oh, Dimodactyl is one of my favorites. This thing is, if you could predict swaps, this thing is absolutely insane. The counter and the speed boot buff and the attack buff were all huge for it. Also the HP buff. I used to use this thing back before Phlox, back when IntelliChops was actually good, but it was pretty underrated back then, and now it's an absolute beast of a creature. I was watching today, IGT absolutely just demolished a poor Hadris Lux with this thing. It knows how to play around. You boost HP and speed on it, and actually no, that's old Dimodactylus. Nowadays, attack is also pretty darn good because it's a great revenge killer. No escape is pretty beastly. It just has so many tools to do well in this meta. Let's see. Moving on, we have Deplovinator. Deplovinator? Again, like Anarchtovinator, it's more of a 1v1 creature. It does pretty well, but it doesn't have the options that Tovinator has. It also relies completely on distraction, but it's still pretty good. It's got ways against evasion. It's got ways against armor. It's got distraction. It's just solid. Dodosivia, Flock, pretty good. Although Alert Decoy is, in my opinion, not the best running move. The fact that it sacrifices a Flock member is not the best. Also, the rally heal it has, Protective Alert, not the most amazing move around, but it does deal a lot of damage. But that's really all I can say for it. I can easily work around a Dodosivia. Dracoceratops and Dracoceratosaurus, both of these, it's a shame because 4X makes both of these obsolete. Dracoceratosaurus, there's no point in running it. Why run it when you have 4X? It just does the job better. The only reason why you'd run Dracoceratosaurus is that Dracoceratops is that when all three of those are at 1 HP, these two do more. Just 4X does their job better. Sloth Deer, Aeromacerus, one of my favorites. It just has, again, I love a creature with options, and Aeromacerus has options. The only thing that you're really going to have, if you're using this thing, the only thing it's really going to struggle with is going to be armor. That's it. Armor and shields. But it's got things against, distraction. Even some resilience can't take care of the shields. It's got ways around. It's got a camouflage, which makes it pretty unpredictable. It has ways to work around so many creatures that it's just a really good legendary. One of my favorites. Erladom, I loved Erladom, but now it's garbage. It's not good. It needs some love, because it is too frail to do much. Revenge Cloak, yeah, it does a lot of damage, but odds are it's not doing enough, or it's just dying too quickly. It doesn't really do well in the meta right now, because it's oh wow, I'm gonna Revenge Cloak, but look at, there are just many better cloakers. If you want something that cloaks, use Indotaurus or Indominus Rex, Eren, but it's just phased out by so many different kind of things like Gorgotrebax, Anarchtovinator, 4X, those creatures. Grelunkin, good legendary. I ran it in the last legendary tournament. It was pretty good. That speed boost was a big plus to it. Same with Obstruction. That was another big buff to it. It's got great synergy. I like the fact that it can just run away right away. The problem is the turn one. If if he gave it a Rampage for Raking Claws, this thing would be absolutely insane. It's got armor, but evasive stance, everyone hates on evasive stance. I don't think it's the worst move out there, but it's not the best. Sidestep would have been better. However, it's still pretty decent, pretty good legendary. Host. Host is definitely not the worst Apex. That belongs to the other creature in this tier. But Host is one of the better creatures in here. And actually, after the sim results, we found that Host actually is pretty good, but again, that's just sim results. I don't fully, and the sims I found have some issues here and there, but Host, it's understandable as to why Host is good. I'm not a fan of the fact that it is weak to it cannot resist distraction. It lacks like no immunities at all. The instant rampage is pretty good, but and it's got a good defensive turn 1, but and it's got speed ups. Speed ups is pretty good, and compared to the other Apex in here, it's got good defensive turn 1 and it got a great turn 2. But after that, that's where it just ends. No point. I love Indominus Rex because I actually run it. And Indominus Rex, when it comes to boosting, has many different boost sets. I find that most people run a fast nitro, high attack, high speed. I run high speed, high HP because I can get the revenge cloaks more and I can tank more hits. That's what I find works really well. But both sets are good. You want to get Indom really fast. It's got great immunities, especially that deceleration immunity is pretty good. It cannot really do well against shields because otherwise you have to strike, but it's got revenge cloak to help with that. It's got great the immunities like stun immunity. Distraction resistance is really helpful, but it's got great boost options. It's got a great boost set, and overall, it's just a really, really good legendary. All right, Mags. Mags is a jack of all trades, which is good and bad because it's all right, why I want to use Magna as something that's like a creature with distraction, but also fierce. But all right, why not just choose 4X? No, 4X just does everything better. But all right, I want to use it as something that nullifies. All right, why not use Quetzarian or Anarchtophonator? Both of those do the same thing but better. All right, well, I want something that's really fast and is immune to stuff. All right, why not use something like Spinal Constrictor or even Intelliceros? Mags has just been phased out. It's not, and also it's got it's vulnerable to swappers. It's easy for 4X to revenge kill. It does pretty well against Scorpius Gen 3, I will give it that. But that's really it. It's just not as good anymore. Oh, I skipped Indo. Alright, Indo Gen 2. Indo Gen 2, great against Phlox. Good in Legendary Advantage. Decent resistances. Cautious Strike, pretty defensive. It's got Distracting Impact. Mutual Fury's okay on it. Decent Legendary. One of the lowers in this tier, in my opinion, but it can definitely put in some work. And I would probably say it's better than it's better than Indoraptor Gen 1, but also, again, compared to Indoraptor Gen 1, Indoraptor Gen 2 is able to specifically specialize in one role, and it does it really, really well, which is important. Because, again, with Mags, what's the point if I can choose something better? Indoraptor Gen 2, there isn't much that can do something better than it. Otherwise, unless you're going into the Tyrant tiers, the high Tyrant tiers, even, or whatever. Majunga Boa. This thing, again, like Diamond Access, you predict swaps with this thing, it's gonna wreck house. Like 4x, if you predict a 4x swap with this thing, 4x is dead or it's swapping out again and not even touching you. That's how solid Majunga Boa is. Dust Cloud, best attribute it has. It also has Ferocious Strike, pretty good. Precise Impact is pretty good. Cleansing Impact is pretty good. While Precise Impact could be Precise Rampage, it's still really good. It's got great resistances. It's got the raking counterattack. The speed is a little unfortunate, and the HP, but like boosted it and the attack are all below average. But again, boosted those two, like HP and attack, you boost those two stats, it's gonna do really well. Mammotherium. Mammotherium is the resilient version of the Glass Cannon. Got high attack. You can heal a lot with PFS. PFS is Persistent Ferocious Strike, one of the best strikes in the game. It's got Resilient Impact, which is good, which is a great turn 1 option. Actually, compared to Mammalania, like, if this thing had, like, kind of like Mammalania, a little bit more bulk, honestly, you could argue it would be better than Mammalania even, because it deals a lot of damage with PFS and Resilient Impact. What is it? It's like 5,500. Mammalania is only achieving 4,500. Like, even though it's like got 3,600 HP, even I'm saying it's like a Glass Cannon, it's still actually pretty bulky. 30% armor, 3,600 HP, nothing to sneeze at. Great for Phlox, just great for setting up swappers. Decent speed. Dig in with PFS is really, really good. Bellow, good stall move. Just a solid middle 8 creature. Definitely one of the best in the tier. I could even see it going up. If someone really were to really argue, I could easily see that. Megalotops. Alright, PFS is one of the best moves in the game. Say hello to something that has the best move in the game, or best strike in the game. Determined Strike, I have a problem with Determined Strike. Personally, alright, you know what, we're going to do a bit of comparison here. Let's go all the way down to, where's Spinotoraptor? Spinotoraptor, where are you? Scavenger, yeah. That sounds about right for a Spinotoraptor. It's so dumb because Spinotoraptor's whole kit can't do as many effects as Determined Strike can. It's crazy stupid. Distract, Precise. It's essentially Cunning Strike with precision, with vulnerability, and superiority effects. Why? Why does a basic move need to do so much? It doesn't. It shouldn't. Besides that, it's got Camouflage and On Escape Camouflage, both of which are pretty good. Cautious Rampage is a great move. Good defensive move. Distracting Impact. Great turn 1 option. It doesn't really use it as much as like the other moves, but also Stunning Alert, really good. It's a second best epic in the game. No questions asked. Again, one of the best in the tier. Megastakuros, I feel like this legendary is a bit overrated. Yeah, it's got great damage on the swap, but it's got terrible defenses. Yeah, the defensive rend is a good move, but it has a delay. Group shield is okay. This thing dies really easily. If you want to know how easily, do a Wrench of Scion strat with it. It doesn't work. I hate that strat, but Megastakuros, it's still a really good legendary. Definitely not one of the best legendaries, in my opinion. I feel like things like Mammotherium and Mammotherium, like even I would almost say to an extent Aeromosaurus is better. But Megastakuros, still pretty good. Yes, one of my favorites. Probably my favorite legendary in the game, Monostegatops! I use Monostegatops in the arena, and it is okay. It's definitely not the best in the arena. I would say Megastakuros is better in the arena. There are a lot of legendaries like Alicino, Sealhost, Antiloceros, Aeromosaurus. All these Mammotherium would easily do much better in the arena. But Montestego is a pretty decent swapper. It's got a nice niche, seeing as it's the only swapper up until now besides Paracanthops that can really heal, and it's the only creature, and out of those two, it's got the better swapping move. Yes, Paracanthops is better. Please do not say I think Monostegatops is better. No, I know Paracanthops is better, but Monostegatops is still pretty good. It's got good bulk, good output, and a good move set. Slow impact, impact. Stunning, great. It's the only creature in the game with greater stunning impact, which is a really good move. Also boosted in a legendary advantage. I think it's actually, I would say it's second to Megastar Curse. I think it's better than Dracoceratops. I have swept teams under the rug with just Monostegatops alone. And pretty good teams too, like level 30 stuff. It is not something you want to mess with. It is just a great creature all around. Forestora. Essentially worth 4x. Instant Rampage, still one of the best moves in the game, just outclassed. Cunning Strike, pretty good. Sidestep, pretty good. Delayed Rampage and Run is a really garbage thing it has. That's his big flaw. But other than that, it's just it's a good legendary. It's a good legendary. Which one's better, Grolinkin or Forestora? I would say they're about equal. I like Grolinkin being able to run turn 2 and having the ability to pin, but Forestora being able to come in and swap and stun you is also really, really good. Also, Instant Rampage, that great turn 1. It's got one of the better turn 1s in the game. But it's also high speed too, the better speed, but it's still a good legendary. Perlith. Got the Rend, Ferocity heal. It's got shields. It's slow though. That's its big issue. It's really, really slow. That's bad. Also, the heal nerf really hurt it. But it's still a good rare. You have to respect it. No escape. It's not as good as it used to be, but I don't know. I would say it's either the best or second best rare. Personally, I think there should be another rare in here, and I'll cover that. But but it's still really good. Referendum. This is the worst Apex in the game, 100%. Garbage turn 1. Like Host, at least it has Fearless Flap, great defensive turn 1. Ref has Cunning Strike or Alert Nullification, both of which suck for a turn 1 option. Like, if it had, like, Cunning Impact, that would be really good. Honestly, I would rather it have Cunning Impact than Cunning Rampage, because that way it can safely revenge kill. It's got the good swap and distraction isn't bad. Super distraction is a pretty decent move, but it's that garbage turn 1 that really screws it over. But it's not bad. It's just not the best. Righteous Ion, again, this kind of works with like Grolinkin in a way. It's pretty similar. It's got On Escape, the Critical Strike, not bad. Devious Strike, it's a pretty good move for a basic attack. Also, Fierce Impact is pretty good. Its version of Sidestep with Ferocity, that's a really good. And Safety Rampage, that's a pretty good move too, I would say. Because it could either just be a pure Rampage or it can be an Impacts and Run, I think. But it's got good synergy, it's fast, it's got great resistances, especially with the speed up and the deceleration resistance unboosted at least. That thing even still is faster than most creatures, especially like the tanks and resilience. Still pretty good. Sarcoryxes, pretty good epic, pretty good. I use it in the arena. It's got the classic stun combo with Immobilize and Stunning Strike. It's got Resilient Strike, which is pretty decent. I would like it to get some form of speed control, but it does have the stun make up for that. It's got Ferocious Impact, one of the best turn 1 options around. It it's just really, really solid. Also, it has good bulk. The D-Cell nerf kind of hurt it because, like, in order to outspeed things like Gem and Titan that are, like, or Maxima that are running, like, 115, 117 speed, you gotta get, like, 131 speed on this thing. At least. Although, then again, though, I do see a lot of them going, like, 150. I don't know. I like a more offensive, like, bulky Sarkorixies, but a Nitro one isn't bad either. Again, like Indom, it's got many different builds that work. Scorpius Rex. Scorpius Rex is... I did an article on Scorpius Rex not too long ago, but it's again, it's just not as good as Scorpius Rex Gen 3, but unlike that, unlike Gen 3, Gen 1 has I would say like a much better like turn 1 revenge kill move. Personally, I do not want to be revenge killing with Toxic Quills. I would rather save that for the next creature that comes in. Although what really, really, really sucks about Scorpius Gen 1 is the fact that it can't use its quills turn 1. That's its biggest weakness. Also, again, comparing Gen 3 to Gen 1, Scorpius 1 is way more unpredictable camouflage. I think I would go as far to say that camouflage is even a better move than instant ambush. Even I like it more. It gives Scorpius Rex like more unpredictability. It can really get you out of a lot more, many more like sticky scenarios, but it's still easily one of the better creatures in the tier. But it's constantly able to distract you with like the lethal quill shot, cunning impact, camouflage. It does need a bit of love maybe in like some of the stats like HP, speed, or attack, but it's a pretty good legendary, really good. Scooter Fascion. I've never been a fan of Scooter Fascion. I will say it's good, but it's never really been like, oh my gosh, it's Scooter Fascion. It's never really like caught my eye. It has great revenge capabilities. It can play offense or defense with its revenge moves, Revenge Fierce Impact, or Revenge Protection. I do like that. It has no way really around evasion. Decelerating Rampage is pretty good for it, but against like cunning moves like Distraction, it can easily be played around. The fact that it is immune to stun is really good. Immune to Distraction. Not Distraction. It's got the vulnerability resistance, and it's got the slow resistance, which is really good. Plus the higher base speed. Also, the crit chance isn't bad. It's just really lacks the bulk. Like Revenge Protection, again, it is good, but it isn't really amazingly good. If it were bulky, this thing would be really good, but it's still a good legendary. It's just I personally am not the biggest fan of it, but I know a lot of people are, and I wouldn't put it any lower. Sinocotoraptor. Or Sinocotoraptor, sorry. My bad. That's late. Sinocotoraptor. It's got really good offenses. It's got Cunning Impact, Precise Pounce. Pretty good. Flock, it's really defensive too. Also, the fact that it does not have a threatened state makes it really unusual. So you could swap it in at any time, and it's always going to alert the Flock and Rally Heal. It doesn't have any form of Rally Heal on the field, but again, this thing it can just like do a hit or two, go out, come back in, do another hit or two. Also, Sidestep is a really good move for it, allowing it to like cleanse right away. Distraction immunity is good, especially with Precise Pounce and Scorpius Rex. It does lack stun immunity or stun resistance, which is not the best, but honestly, I think this thing is still really good. Definitely deserves this tier placing, maybe even higher. I know IDGT even uses it, but it's a pretty good flock. It's really unique too, and I really like it. I did Thor. It's essentially like Alicino. Thylacotator. Good swap in, good 1-2 combo, but that's really it. That's all it has. And if you're resistant to rend or bleed or both, um, you're not doing. It's not doing much. It's good epic. Superiority strike. It's good form of speed control. But again, like Scorpius Rex can absolutely slaughter this thing. Also, Phlox with rend resistance really hurt it. It's not bad, but not amazing either. Titanoboa. As to which is better, Titanoboa or Majungaboa, I would have to give it to Majungaboa now. It used to be Titanoboa 100%. Titanoboa is still really good. On Escape Rampages, why? That's really the only reason how it made itself up here. It's got good matchups with Decelerating Impact and Precise Rampage, but it's just not as useful as it once was, and Majungaboa just does the job better. Trio. Again, I am personally not the biggest fan of Trio. I feel like it... Then again, though, I do use Baryonyx, but it's got good resistances. Ready to Crush, good move. Good Rampage. That loss of Ferocious Strike in PvP really hurts it. But I still think it's able to definitely compete. The Phlox hurt it. 4X hurts it. It just doesn't hold up as well in the meta anymore. It's still not bad, but it's fine. Sintamoth, I honestly do not know much about Sintamoth. It's got Persistent Ferocious Strike, which is always a good thing to have. Cleansing Impact, pretty good. Group Decelerating Impact, pretty good. It's also got the heal, which isn't bad. It's got good defenses, but it's alright. It's not the most amazing thing in the world. I personally have no experience with it, but I know some people like it. But I would, if I had to say, put this thing like somewhere in here, I would put it definitely on the lower end of the stick here. Renix. Once again, it finds itself here. Renix has got a good 1-2, 1-2-3 actually. It can impact, instant charge, run away. The problem is that again, it's just outclassed. Also, 4X just ruins it. Skuna ruins it. Scorpius Rex Gen 3 doesn't ruin it, but so many things with on escapes nowadays. Testa Cornubus is another one that really ruins it. It's just not able to hold up. It's a shame. Finally, we end on Woolly Rhino. And again, I know people are probably going to give me flack for this. I'm going to say right now, Woolly Rhino is better than Monostegotops, because let that show on the record. Woolly Rhino is, and out of all the swappers here, right, if I had to rank the swappers, I like Dracoceratosaurus more than Dracoceratops, actually. I will say that here. It would probably be something like Megastochurus, Dracocerato, Dracoceratops, Woolly Rhino, Monostegotops, something like that. But actually no, maybe Woolly Rhino is better than Dracoceratops, but there's a reason why it's up here. 1500 on the swap. That's really it. Also got Resilient Impact, which isn't bad. Good bulk, but that when you just boost do a 1020 build, this thing is gonna hurt. Pretty good. Definitely deserves this place. But yeah, that's mid elite. I do feel like maybe some creatures should be in here that aren't, but I'll cover that in a bit.